this is relevant, which is actually kind of wanted to talk about it. Is I've been seeing like because you just played Stray.
Yeah.
And
it was good.
I'm interested in playing, and I want to play. I'm just like finding the right time. I'm in the middle of another game, but I find it interesting. It's getting like huge, like great reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it has like almost our perfect on Rotten Tomatoes, and like I think GameStop gave it like Game Informer gave it like a 9.5 or something, or like something high.
Okay.
It's like. It's just really interesting, like, I mean, for how simple the game is, but I find it interesting is that the two highest rated games of this year are complete opposite spectrums of what video gaming is and can be.
You're talking about Elden Ring versus...
Yeah, you have Elden Ring, which is just cutthroat, gonna murder you, and is just, like, unforgiving. And then Stray, and you're a cat, and you're just wandering through just... trying to figure out the mysteries of this world and stuff.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, though, it makes kind of sense, though, because that's a really nice palate cleanser.
Right? It's like everyone's like, ah! And then it's like, meow.
Yeah, like, meow. I mean, I just beat it. And it's like, it's Journey. Took me 10 hours to beat it.
10 hours total?
Looks like 9 and 45 minutes, something like that. Yeah. And I got like 80-90% completion.
Which means like if it took you about that long to beat it the first time, if you were to go through it again, it'd probably take you like 4 hours, wouldn't it? Or so.
Yeah, because I know
4 to 5.
I guess I know like what to look for.
Yeah.
Because I'm really curious what those 2 or 3 memories I didn't get to get the 100% were.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean it was. Yeah, I mean, it was great.
Yeah, I mean, I look forward to playing it. It's just, I just found it so amusing. I was just like scrolling through my stuff and like, I just kept seeing like, unsuspecting game gets a highest rating of the year so far and blah, blah, blah. Or, Well,
I remember hearing about it a long time ago when it was first pitched as like a teaser of like, the studio's making this thing. I
kind of remember that too. Yeah, about a year ago, year and a half. So we saw some footage and I was like, a game as a cat? That sounds interesting.
I always like that kind of gimmick though.
Yeah.
You play as a mouse. So
what is it? I downloaded it and I didn't get to start playing it yet, but like
Tales of whatever.
The Tales of a Tale. Tales a Tale. Tale the Tale.
It's like an RPG, but you play as a mouse.
Yeah.
It's like Secret of Nim. Fantasy game.
It looks fucking cool as fuck.
It was really cool. I played the beginning of it, and I fell off of it for some reason. I don't remember. I think maybe Elden Ring came out.
Oh, they kind of make.
I think I finally got Elden Ring, and I was like, I'm gonna do this, and then I just kind of forgot it until you mentioned it. But yeah, no. If you haven't played Stray, play Stray. It's cool.
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
It's a really nice like zone out. The music's really great. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This
is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape.
Turn off your fucking
phone. I know. I just heard it.
Hey, everybody. Woo!
Just talk really loud.
Yeah, we might have some interference in the background. Just try to ignore that. But today...
I was literally going to say, maybe if you don't draw attention to it, it won't be noticeable.
Sounds like someone's setting off fucking firecrackers.
There's a tap dancer upstairs.
Anyway, welcome back to this week of us doing a review.
Welcome back to episode 96.
Yeah,
we're getting up there. We're getting there.
We're filling up on our duo block of this. Well, it turned into neo-noir kind of like.
Yeah, it did.
Thing. I'm glad we actually decided to not do The Crow with this after doing research on this movie.
Yeah, that was weird, right?
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But the movie we are going to be talking about today, if you didn't read in the title, is Dark City, which came out in 1998. Yeah, my pen. I forgot I had my pen out. Yeah. Throw that over there. Which officially came out February 27th, 1998.
Yeah.
Which apparently I read they wanted to have this for a release in October of 97 originally.
Okay.
But I forgot I read this, but I forgot why it was pushed back to 1998.
It was a weird Valentine's movie.
Yeah, right. A late Valentine's movie.
Late Valentine's movie.
But yeah, it's got a rating. Oh, give us a synopsis first.
Strange men in black hunt down an alleged killer in a mysterious city during a seemingly never-ending night.
That's an interesting take to look at it, like starting with the men hunting down the killer.
Well, yeah, because even what I said off mic, we'll get into that. But about him being the main.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you can take this movie a lot of different ways.
So, just really quick, I think this movie is very, very interesting, and I just was not interested.
And I can't remember, is this the first time you've seen this?
First time I watched it.
Okay.
I have a lot of mixed feelings about this film.
That's fair.
A lot of mixed feelings.
I think once we get into it, it'll be interesting back and forth.
I think it will be too.
Because it's a weird movie.
I like the cerebralness of it.
It is mind trip.
It is. Also, there's a lot of philosophical questions that are brought up through just even without even doing like the research into like reviews and like Wikipedia and whatnot. I was sitting there just like, I'm really thinking about this right now. Mm-hmm. And it's also very fitting this and Blade Runner to do together as well.
I thought that was so funny because there's so much identity in both.
Yeah, exactly.
And what is human, and I was like, oh, I don't remember. That was a whole by accident. I didn't remember that being like a.
I was curious if you were gonna like pick up on that.
Yeah.
Because even like you were saying, like I don't remember this movie really being being like a noir type, and it's the first like 10 minutes. Like, dude, this is 100% a noir.
Yeah. Once I watched it again, I was like, oh yeah, this is great.
Maybe you just didn't really fully know what a noir was when you at that time. You know what I mean?
Well, I grew up with this movie, and I haven't watched this in 10+ years.
Fair.
You know.
All right. Well,
it's so weird when I say, oh yeah, Dark City. I grew up watching that. Like,
yeah, you were like 6 when this movie came out.
Why did you see it so much? So young.
Well, I mean, you could have watched it when you were 10, and I don't know. Anywho,
existential crisis.
Oh, our generation's so fucked. So rating wise on IMDb, it has a 7.6. Tomato meter rating is a 75, and the audience score is 85 as well, or not as well. It's 85. Mm-hmm. So marginally well received. The movie was a flop box office wise.
Yeah, wasn't it like?
And worldwide, it actually had a good worldwide, or a better worldwide. Worldwide, it was number 76, but domestically, it was 105.
Wow.
And for the year 98, we already did this with Very Bad Things, 68 movies. But like, did you look at budget? Because actually, I was just curious this time. I looked at the Wikipedia fact for that, the wiki fact.
I went on budget. I went on Wiki, and then I went on the numbers and Mojo. Mm-hmm. And so budget was around 27 million. It's kind of one of those.
Yeah.
But around 27 million and grossed 27.2 million.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Yeah.
So it literally just made its money back, which is considered a flop.
Yeah.
Like, actually, we should actually like solidify what we know. I think it's supposed to be. I think it has to make at least double its revenue or double its budget.
Yeah.
To be considered like successful.
That sounds right. I remember I was reading a whole article about it. I was trying to figure out what gets on the top list.
Well, let's just make sure. Like, let's actually do some research. So we'll put
a pin in it. We'll come back to that.
Put a pin in it. Anyway, so let's. I feel like there was more we want to say about that, but let's just get into it. Let's
Wait,
talk.
Did you say how many you've seen?
Yeah, 68.
Oh, I saw 68 too.
It was different from this is the same year as Very Bad Things.
I know, but remember, I just recently started doing domestically.
Oh, what did you have before?
1 second, everyone. That's Death to Smoochie. All right, we're almost there. There we go. 61.
Oh, okay.
Internationally, I saw.
You see, when domestically, there's more movies that we've definitely.
Yeah, it's just interesting. It's interesting the difference. But yeah.
So this movie, Dark City. Let's get into the directors, writers, and all that stuff. This movie was directed by Alex Proyas, and also he is the story creator and one of the screenplay writers.
Yep.
But directing credits, you might also know movies like The Crow, which was we almost paired this movie with The Crow, which is actually kind of amusing for us.
I think that would have been like a womp womp.
Yeah, but like, whoops. I don't think we actually want to be more careful about that when we're pairing movies.
Yeah,
do a little bit of quick research with that. He also directed Irobot, which is one of my favorite Will Smith movies, actually. And then more recently, people might recognize Knowing with Nicolas Cage, or Gods of Egypt with... I forget.
I'm looking at it right now. Gerard Butler.
That's right.
I never know.
Is that another one of those like weird whitewashing movies?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember they got in trouble for that.
Was that one of them that like actually was put on blast when it came out?
I think so, because Gerard Butler plays Set.
Yeah. Well, hello, my darling.
I mean, he's a god. They can look like whatever they want. I don't know. It got in trouble for that. And were you just talking about knowing? Why were you?
I brought up Next.
Okay. Also
Nicolas Cage. Both of them are premonitions.
Premonition movie thing. Okay.
Yeah, knowing is more about he knows that the end of the world's going to happen, and like kind of nobody believes him. I've never seen Knowing. I just know the premise.
You just know
I know
the premise of Knowing without knowing that you've seen it or not, but you know you didn't see it.
Let's go next.
Let's see what you did there.
We're dumb. So let's move on to the. So, like I said, Alex Proyas also he created the story, and he's also a screenplay writer. I didn't really notice anything else writing wise for him that was kind of worth mentioning.
One of the Alex's first movies was a movie called Garage Days, which I was just interested in because it didn't have a really great rating on. Let's see.
I vaguely looked at it, so.
Yeah, it was like a music. The story of a young garage band in Sydney, Australia, trying to make it big, and I like that.
Oh, is he Australian?
No.
I mean, if it's his first movie, I would assume.
I would assume so.
And it doesn't actually say. Wow, that's interesting. Oh, he was born in Egypt. Moving on.
Born to Greek parents in Egypt. Oh. Relocated to Australia with his family.
There it is.
When he was 3. Wow. So his parents are Greek.
Cool.
He was born in Egypt, and then he moved to Australia when he was 3 years old.
And then he made Gods of Egypt. Well, let's move forward to the next writers, which I think next I would say let's do Lem Dobbs, who doesn't really have anything very, very recognizable.
The one that stuck out to me was the score.
Yeah, because that's got Robert De Niro and Edward Norton, right?
Yeah, it's like a heist movie.
Yeah.
Goaty. He wrote Goaty, or they were Goaty.
Hider in the House. Did I write that down right?
Yeah, no, I have that down too.
Okay. And then I wrote down The Limey. Like, I don't know. I just word names of things. Like, did a quick look, and I'm like, I don't know what these are.
There was one called Haywire that sounded like a fun, like, spy revenge born kind of premise. She's like an exiled CIA agent. And she goes and gets revenge, but the cast is really cool. It didn't have not a high rating, but it looked like a cool ensemble cast. It's
people like him that I'm like kind of curious. It's like, why do you have 10 writing credits? Who the hell are you? And why is it like he's like it's kind of spread out, and then like he just disappears off the planet, you know?
Yeah,
it's very interesting. He's got a Wikipedia page too. I'm like, who are you, Lynn Dobbs? Let's get into the bread and butter for writers. David S. Goyer, guys, this was actually quite a surprise.
Yeah,
because his name sounded familiar. I'm like, why does his name sound so familiar? I was actually watching Blade the day before, and that's why.
There you go.
It was on TV, and I was like, oh, Blade, I'll watch this before I go to work. And then also earlier career, I'm going to say first like Crow 2, City of Angels, which is actually why he was brought on for this, because Alex Proyas, who also did the story for Crow, or screenplay for Crow, not story because it's a comic book, was impressed with David Goyer's writing and wanted to work with him.
I don't mind Crow 2.
I don't really remember it.
I think it's eight.
Yeah.
I
know it's one that you've been talking about. You wanted to do like some type of review for it. It's so separate. It's like they're two separate movies.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Iggy Pop is a bad guy in that.
I want to say you're right in that. But here's the most impressive stuff, I would say, is he is one of the writers for the Nolan trilogy for Batman. Which I was like, oh, interesting. And then he wrote the story for the Vader Immortal VR experience that we were playing, which I was like, what?
Yeah, that was cool. Ghost Rider 2.
Yeah, he's got a lot of shit, and even like a bunch of shit about to come out.
When it's like a lot of superhero stuff. Even did Jumper, which we were talking about
the other day because Hayden Christensen for some reason.
Yeah, we were like, the concept was kind of cool. It just wasn't executed very well.
Yeah.
But like, this this group of teleporting.
I think we had somebody that directed it or something.
Yeah, I can't remember where that came up. But and even like a Terminator movie. It's a lot of like kind of
the newest one, Dark Fate.
Yeah, like a lot of like
It's going to turn into like big blockbuster. Like he can write,
Yeah.
which makes sense because like this movie has a very big scope of world, you know?
Yeah.
So like he knows how to like really like write for a world like that. So shout out to David S. Goyer on this movie.
Well, it even says like Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice, written by.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
He did the screenplay for Man of Steel.
Oh yeah.
No, like he's like from the Nolanverse, he became like a really big he's a really big fixture in the DC EU.
Yeah.
So, like he's probably got a writing credit on Justice League.
Yeah.
Joss Whedon's Justice League, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. It was a fun little like, oh, like look at this.
A little surprise.
Yeah, look at this person.
Yeah. Someone who we both have followed a career of without
and
knowing
just didn't
it.
know it.
Yeah.
Seen all of your movies basically, or a large majority of them.
Yeah. Well, let's get into who's starring in this movie.
Let's do it.
You want to kick us off?
Rufus Sewell plays John Murdoch.
Yes.
Murdoch.
Which I wrote. So recently we did the holiday back in December. Where I don't know where my brain went there.
Recently. in December.
Half a year ago. He's Kate Winslet's asshole
lover
interest. Yeah,
interest writer. Doesn't he like end up like straight up stealing from her?
Kinda. No, she keeps writing stuff like for him or like
helping him. But she's doing his homework basically.
Yeah. He's an asshole.
Asshole. That was stuck in my head the other day.
That gets stuck in my head at least once a week.
He was the bad guy in Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger,
which I don't remember him. Let me do my list really quick as well because I put down movies that I have seen that I don't either just don't remember or don't remember him in.
Oh, okay.
So A Knight's Tale,
okay,
The Legend of Zorro.
That's the second one. Okay.
And
he's Catherine Zeta's ex-lover.
Yeah. And The Illusionist.
Don't remember him in that.
Don't remember him in that as well. Like, and I was just like, I'm pretty sure there's a couple other movies that are on there. I'm like, oh, like maybe I just didn't write them because I've never seen him, but I've heard of him. But I was just like, this guy is just not very memorable for me.
Oh man, you gotta watch Knight's Tale again. He's a great bad guy in that.
I just remember Paul Bettany.
He was great in that too.
Yeah.
And redheaded guy. What's his name?
Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, and Alan Tudyk's fucking hilarious.
Is he redhead in that?
Yeah.
Is he a redhead in general?
I don't know. He's a redhead in that.
Huh. Anywho.
I got to stop answering and just saying I don't know when I don't know. It's this weird knee-jerk reaction. Oh yeah, but Rufus was also more recently he was in the M. Night Shyamalan. Old, yeah.
Which I haven't seen yet. You saw that, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm kind of over M. Night a little bit. I mean, the concept is cool.
The twist, it was like it was cool in the 2000s, late 90s.
It's always a cool concept, but the execution to me is always. But I also really like Rufus as just I find something captivating about.
He's got very piercing eyes.
Yeah, and there's something about his voice and just his mannerisms. I would like to watch more of their stuff, but
well, get on it, buddy.
Yeah, it's like I have that choice. And I just haven't done it. Up next, probably
William Hurt.
Yeah, let's do William Hurt, who unfortunately passed away this year. William Hurt plays Inspector Frank Bumstead. I most know William Hurt probably from History of Violence and Lost in Space, the 90s one. Which
the 90s one.
Fucking sick. Love that
That's
movie.
also, it's funny, is like I kind of wrote down again movies that I've seen him in, or the movies that I've seen that I don't remember him really in.
What do you got?
Which was Lost. Well, once I saw Lost in Space, I was like, okay, yeah, I see that now.
I have very pleasant memories of that movie being very fun.
I think I've only watched it a couple of times when I was a kid, though.
Fucking Joey Tribbiani.
There you go.
Joey Tribbiani is like the badass action star.
Yeah,
he actually did. Wish he did more shit. Like
Matt LeBlanc.
Yeah, Matt LeBlanc did a good. Cocky bastard, but they can use a laser.
He's better
gun.
at comedy,
but he was funny in it too, though.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
he was like a Brendan Fraser in The Mummy.
Yeah.
He was still kicking ass, but he had a humor to him.
I don't know. A lot of people. It's like he unfortunately had one of those careers where it's like people couldn't erase Joey from their mind.
Yeah,
which is unfortunate.
And watch episodes that will kind of change your mind about Matt LeBlanc.
There's so many jokes that I want to make. I don't want to put on the air.
Do not quote a single thing that he says in that show. Not a single goddamn line.
Woo! All right. William Hurt. Also, he's in Mr. Brooks, which I vaguely remember. I vaguely remember that movie. I remember Dane Cook in that movie most than anything.
Mr. Brooks.
It's like a split personality thing.
Yeah, I don't know that
I
one.
want to say Kevin Costner as well. Or maybe it's... Yeah, I want to say Kevin Costner, Dane Cook, and William Hurt.
Oh, weird.
But William Hurt's also, he's Secretary General / General Ross in the MCU, or was.
Yeah.
He was actually from the beginning, from the Incredible Hulk.
From the Incredible Hulk.
Moving forward, yeah. He was our last tie to Edward Norton's Incredible Hulk.
He was in The Village. He was in AI.
I also don't remember him in The Village.
Yeah, he's one of the council leaders. He's one of the parents.
Yeah. The only thing I really remember in The Village, I think, is really just Joaquin Phoenix and oddly enough, Adrian Brody a little bit more.
It's one of the William Hurt's one. He's been around forever. You've seen him. In
I get him confused with young William Hurt and young Jeff Bridges. I can just swap in my mind really easily. Oh, yeah.
That's really bizarre to me.
Young William Hurt and young Jeff Bridges look so much alike to me.
Who I was in my head, I was like convinced for a minute until I looked it up that he was like the warden in Green Mile. That took me a minute to break that connection. What was that?
I don't know who the warden is in Green Mile.
Okay, I don't have to look it up, but yeah, we can. God, what is his name?
Well, let's keep moving.
Okay.
Let's go next to Kiefer Sutherland.
Kiefer. Hey, Kiefer.
I grew up with Kiefer. I went to school with a Kiefer.
I'm sorry, I'm doing Jiminy Glick. Kiefer.
Kiefer plays Dr. Didn't write down the first name, but Dr. Schreber.
Daniel
Schreber. And Kiefer Sutherland, I went very young Kiefer Sutherland, you would recognize for The Lost Boys, Stand By Me, Young Guns, A Few Good Men.
Flatliners.
Yeah.
He's that younger, but probably most known for his Jack in 24.
24. That show, when that show came out, it was fucking awesome.
What is the premise of that show? I've never watched it, never been interested.
So literally everything is supposed to be in real time. So it's an hour-long episode.
Uh-huh.
Everything that happens in that hour is actually taking an hour to do.
Cool. So what's the conflict?
They have 24 hours to save the president or something like that. It's like literally, it's like they have something happens, like a terrorist attack. This is at the peak of terrorist attacks.
Uh-huh. I remember that.
It's like a terrorist attack happens and they have like 24 hours to like figure it and solve it. So each season is 24 episodes and each hour represents an hour of that 24 hours.
Oh, that's more of a thing than I thought it was.
It was a really cool concept, but then it got really out of control. Like, it spun out of control. And season 2 got really weird.
They don't do a hard stop when they probably should.
Yeah, no, not at all. But yeah, no, that show, yeah, Kiefer Sutherland, Alicia Cuthbert was in it. And actually, that show actually like bumped a lot of people's careers.
I mean, my two favorites, Phone Booth, just because that's a great movie, and all it is
he has
his
very
voice.
Little screen time in his voice. Yeah,
his voice he's terrifying in it. And then the Disney version of Three Musketeers, which
I forgot to put that one down, but yeah, that's another young Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, but that's a funny one.
I don't really like him in this.
Was it because he was doing this the whole time?
Yeah, it was way too pushed. It wasn't grounded. It felt very showy.
Yeah.
Let's keep moving though, because we if we want to do those honorable mentions, we need to keep going. Jennifer Connelly plays Emma. Strangely enough, in Hulk, the Eric Bana one, not the.
Oh Edward yeah, I forgot about that.
She young in Labyrinth. I call it Labyrinth sometimes because I don't know how to pronounce my A's.
Yeah. Labyrinth, a Beautiful Mind, Working for a Dream. It was in The Rocketeer, which I don't remember her in that.
I have a vague memory of it.
That's a movie.
We've talked about we want to like figure out something to do that with. Yeah.
Blood Diamond.
Yeah. She kind of like, I feel like she didn't, I don't want to say went to obscurity, but she stopped doing like a lot of like big blockbuster hits after a minute and like just slowly had like a career of doing like television and not television, just like not really big movies, you know?
I feel like the last thing I saw, like, and this is not even recent, but He's Just Not That Into You. I think she's married.
And that was like in the mid 2000s.
Yeah. But I think that her and Bradley Cooper are a couple in that.
What? Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the movie since I was in the theaters.
Yeah, that's the whole Scarlett Johansson plot line.
Should we do a weird ensemble block like that?
Do that in like Valentine's Day?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Or New Year's Eve or something.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Because we did Love Actually, and
Did we actually do Love Actually?
didn't we? Oh no, we didn't.
I don't think. I think we've talked about it, but then we also get like.
No, I thought we did. In that block, in our holiday block.
No, because we did Scrooge and A Muppet Christmas Carol, and then we did The Holiday, Gremlins, Die Hard, and
Love Actually. Oh no, The Family Stone.
Yeah, thank you. I was like, it's not Love Actually, it's something else.
See, this is what happens when you start doing like reviewing a movie a week. You start to forget what the fuck you talked about and watched. All right, so let's just do some really quick honorable mentions. Which is really, we really should do an honorable mention to Richard O'Brien in this, who plays Mr. Hand, right? Mm-hmm. Because he played Riff Raff in Rocky Horror Picture Show, and Alex Proyas based the Strangers, like the main like villains of this, off of Riff Raff from Rocky Horror Picture Show, like what they would look like. This androgynous, like creepy, like crawly type, weird, pale, bald, like type characters. And he had Richard O'Brien do a reading, and Richard O'Brien was interested, and they were like, "You're going to be a perfect cast for this then." So quick shout out for Richard O'Brien in this,
and also for like I just thought it was an Ever After for a minute. He's a villain in that. And he's a great villain.
Oh, at the show?
No, Ever After the Cinderella story
with Drew Barrymore.
With Drew Barrymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember that movie.
He's got a great voice. And
he does, actually.
And he's so angular that he just makes a really good villain.
And then Ian Richardson, who plays Mr. Book, who is also in Brazil.
From Hell. And was in House of Cards for a minute, but I'm not very versed in House of Cards. I think I watched the first season when it first came out and then never watched it again.
Same. And just a quick shout out also to Melissa George. This is one of her smaller roles before she got kind of like a little bit bigger. She's the wife in Amityville Horror to Ryan Reynolds. She's one of the survivors in 30 Days of Night with Josh Hartnett. And then she's the hot nanny in Friends.
Yeah.
All right. So was there anyone else you wanted to do a quick shout out to?
Just Bruce Spence from Mr. Wall, just because we did Fury Road. Bruce Spence was in Road Warrior and Thunderdome, and then just Adventure Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls is one of the poachers.
Yeah, that's right.
And I just because I see them, and Bruce is just so like, I know you.
Yeah, exactly.
I fucking know you.
Like you wouldn't recognize him in Lord of the Rings. Is it Two Towers or was it Return of the King?
Return.
It was Return. And then also in Attack of the Clone. No. Yeah, Attack of the Clone. No.
Revenge of the
Sith. Why am I thinking the second one's here? That's so weird.
Yeah, that is weird. Yeah, he's one of the separatist council leaders.
Then,
no, wait, is he?
That's what you said. Yeah, separate.
Is he? I can't remember. It doesn't matter.
You see him, you recognize him.
Yeah.
That type thing. I mean, he's also Queen of the Damned, which we had a little quick like, what? No, he's in the. No, he's this guy. So Bruce Spence, like we were talking about last week with like those people. It's like you've seen them and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, wait. He in Revenge of the Sith, he is the alien that is harboring General Grievous right before Order 66 happens. When Obi-Wan goes to that planet looking for Grievous.
Okay. I haven't seen Revenge in a minute.
Okay.
So. Well, I think we're ready to move into some reviews.
All right, so
Tommy's
quarter? What'd you call
Tommy's review quarter.
Anyways, so on Metacritic there are 13 positive, 9 mixed, 1 negative.
Okay.
Chicago Robert so for the positive, 100 out of 100. Chicago Sun-Times, Robert Ebert, a great visionary achievement, a film so original and exciting it stirred my imagination like Metropolis and 2001 Space Odyssey.
Roger Ebert gave this a 100 out of 100.
Well, he did Stars. They did Stars on Chicago, but again, it's so old it's not on there anymore. But Metacritic turned it to 100. So I don't know how many stars because that article's not there anymore.
I mean, Robert Ebert's, I think, only went up to 5 stars. It was 4 or 5. But if it's a 100, that's a perfect. That says he said this movie was perfect. Yeah. Roger Ebert, okay.
Where's the other one? For mixed, I did Todd McCarthy, who gave it a 50 out of 100 at Variety. What they have done is taken a few secondhand ideas from noir and speculative fiction and mixed them in occasionally striking ways, even if in the end the result isn't all that much fun.
I kind of agree with that one.
That's why I was kind of like,
yeah.
And then negative 20 out of 100, Lisa Alspector at Reader. One reason this production design vehicle is so incredibly boring is that the characters keep having to explain the plot to one another.
She's not wrong.
I didn't think it was that obnoxious, though, when I was watching it.
It was at first until I kind of like realized what actually was going on, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because that's actually kind of a thing. I think that's one of the things that makes this movie interesting, but then also makes me not care. Which is going to be very interesting because it's very similar to what you were talking about last week with Blade Runner.
I wonder if we just kind of changed camps here for a second. I don't think so. I think, yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, that was the negative?
Yeah, that was the negative.
Yeah, I didn't think. Yeah, nothing else you wanted to add to for those? Or like the thoughts on those? I don't know. I just felt like that was a very abrupt ending with it. Like I didn't feel like that there was like, I felt like I was going in a transition there, and I just dropped a ball on it.
Well, like here's a positive by Andy Klein at New Times LA, full of provocative concepts, but like most films that attack such metaphysical concerns head on, things have become a tad too jumbled by the end to be altogether satisfying. Yeah, it's a problem built into the subject matter. That all said, Dark City is immensely entertaining as well as visually dazzling, and yeah, I mean. Yeah, it does kind of get jumbled there a little bit.
It's so interesting because like I feel what this movie's problem is that it is too philosophical to where it kind of like it ruins its I don't want to say it ruins its message, it just warps it. Because like one of the things that I wrote down is like at one point I just kind of realized like I didn't write down any character arc because I feel like there's no care about a character arc because what you realize is that all of their memories are nothing but fabrications and created by these strangers. So whatever arc that this thing that this person desires is fabricated by another person. There's no like.
Well, yeah, but that's kind of the point.
Yeah, exactly, and that's like where it kind of gets interesting into the philosophical thing of like like what kind of again like with Blade Runner is like what is humanity, and like this whole movie like its biggest like it's like themes big like are like it's about perception, reality, this big thing about false memories,
control and freedom of.
Yeah, it's like what did I write here
from control.
It's like at the very end of it, Mr. Hand like comes up and he's like, I am dying because I imprinted your guys' memories into ours and we can't live with that. Mm-hmm. So, it's like a type thing. And Murdoch kind of like, it's because, and also they're like, why did you want all this? And Mr. Hand's kind of like revealing a little bit more of the plot and the plan of like, we wanted to know what made you. What is the human soul? That's kind of like the search for the strangers the entire time. It's like, what is this human soul and what does it mean? Because they're like weird alien entities or something, some type of parasitic. I don't know. Like they never fully explain what the fuck those are.
And they're aliens.
Yeah, but I
don't think they're parasitic though because
that's fair.
They're in the bodies of dead.
Yeah. So, but like parasites can reanimate and that's their host. Like.
Yeah, but I think that's to protect them from sunlight and water.
Fair. But like, so they're like trying to figure out this human, but what is his soul and whatnot. And Murdoch kind of like, he leans into like, he points to his head. He's like, it's because you were thinking about it up here.
I'm so glad he didn't say something like, it's all about the heart.
It's insinuated.
Yeah, no, but
I liked that. Like if you, he could have been like, you thought about it was up here, but you never thought about here.
That would have killed it for me. I just like that he was like, you always thought it was in here.
Because then it leaves it open with like, yeah.
But to be like,
yeah. Well, because like that kind of like it was like what I wrote down was like memory/mind gives us an existence. Like I was talking about last week, it's like it's a thing that we can share, like a memory.
Yeah.
But then what it comes down to is like what makes a person is like a soul, it's heart, and it's like it's not of like the existence of in your mind, but it's the way that it's what it brings out of you, what it evokes inside of you as a feeling and emotion.
Well, to jump back to what you said too about the lack of character like development, the whole point of the movie is to stop the control to create so you can make your own destiny.
Yeah.
Not have your life abruptly stopped every 12 hours to do something else.
So, which then makes like the entire narrative of this murder and neo-noir and like detective story moot.
Yeah.
It makes it all meaningless.
Well, I mean, when I was trying to explain this, because Fallon actually ended up watching this with me, and she liked it. She thought it was interesting. The ending kind of like muddled and like whatever.
Yeah.
But I was trying to explain it to her, and I was like, it's kind of a weird movie to explain to someone without giving too much away.
Exactly, and I'm glad like you just kind of like let me go into it kind of blind because I had no idea what the fuck I was getting into.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch, especially because I was like, well, so it starts off as like this.
Also, really quick, sorry, I do want to say we watched the 2008 director's cut.
Yeah, that had an additional 10 minutes.
An additional 10 minutes,
which I don't know where those were.
I read the difference between the two. Big difference is at the beginning of the theatrical release, there is a narration over the top.
Okay.
That's kind of like explaining and setting up the world a little bit.
Okay.
And then the additional 10 minutes is just like more dialogue and extended scenes of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Which that's 10 minutes is a lot.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to fully.
No, it's okay.
I
totally fucking lost it. Whatever.
You were saying like explain this movie to people.
Oh yeah. So I was trying to explain it like I was like, yeah. So it starts because it does. It starts off with like the premise is Murdoch John wakes up in a bathtub with no memory of what really is going on.
He still has his organs.
Yeah, he still has all his organs. He gets a phone. He's like kind of wandering around in this hotel room. He gets a phone call from Kiefer Sutherland explaining that this is the thing that's happening to him. And while having this conversation, he looks over and finds the ritualistic body of a woman, like a murdered woman that has these like
spirals,
symbols cut into her.
Spirals.
Yeah, these like
very easy. Like spiral is very important.
And reoccurring theme.
Yeah.
But like. So that's where the noir part starts. And you're like, oh, this man with amnesia is trying to figure out, did he murder this person? Why did he murder this person? What's going on? Yada, yada, yada. But the entire time we're having this like opening, there's all these little weird things happening. And then we're quickly introduced to the strangers, which are these, like we were saying, pale, blonde, bald, fedora wearing, black trench coat, which all, by the way, I loved their look.
Yeah.
They were cool because they were a fun like little thing where you could just see a brief glimpse of them off, non-focused off in the distance. You're like, fuck, there they are again. Here they come. But yeah, like when I was explaining it to her, I was like, well, it starts off as this noir, but it really, as the movie progresses, it becomes a sci-fi.
Yeah. It starts off noir. I would say it still kind of lives in the noir realm because like it's still like throughout of it, you're still, I mean, I don't know, until it gets into its weird fucking mind battle ending. God damn, that was fucking.
Those are my two biggest visual, like, well, not just visual, but the fucking. I'm so glad we're past that ripple effect when we're trying to show like psychic abilities.
Yeah,
I'm glad we're past that. And dude, the fighting music for this was so out of character for the theme of the movie.
A lot of the just like acting in this is so underacted. I don't know. I don't feel like this movie was acted very well by anybody.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe William Hurt a little bit. William Hurt didn't bother me. But just like
Rufus didn't bother me, and I really liked Mr. Hand, especially when he became like the all right, this was kind of like my biggest problem with this movie because I enjoyed this movie for its like depth and philosophical content because I'm a fucking nerd like that. You bring me fucking Plato's fucking the allegory of the cave and I'm gonna be like all over that shit. Okay, I question what human existence means on a daily basis. So sorry. But this movie is so uneven in what it brings to the table because I feel like it's just like so many different ideas being brought into one thing that just doesn't feel equal. Like, elaborate.
Like the strangers, they're a cool concept. They're an awesome idea in this world. Yeah, it doesn't seem to make sense because it's a world that they're creating. But then, like, as it keeps going, just like when it gets into their like final conflict, it's just it doesn't feel like the same movie at all anymore. Like,
well, that's when it goes hard sci-fi.
Yeah, and it just I don't. It's like I think that's where that movie, it just like, it took me out. It's like there was no ease transition or even like, it was just so like blatantly different. I don't know. Like well, I mean, just in general, the whole fucking special effects of that goddamn fight scene and the knife, the way that they're throwing the knife, it's just like the choreography of the fight seems very...
It was awkward.
Yeah. There's no emotion being put into it. Like the guy that's playing Mr. Book, like he was horrendous in this movie. Like
I also think but that's like, you got to kind of think of like, and you know, I'm not saying like, I mean, they're the Borg. They're a hive mind.
It doesn't like, I'm talking about like, as the knife, as he throws the knife, he literally just looked like he did this. Like just very casually put out his arm. There was no like movement into it.
I know, but isn't he also using his psychic powers to throw it?
Well, we don't see the fucking ripple effect with that. We just see him throw it. So like make it like, I don't know, just like that whole, the choreography for it was at night. The special effects, half the special effects of this movie stand up. The other half, holy crap, did not age well.
Well, like the ones, like what? Like I think the city building held up. That was cool.
That's cool. Yeah, it's like twisting.
It's like organic.
The tuning, yeah, all that shit. That's cool. You know.
Well, like it's
but
like
then it's literally like the second half of the movie. Well, not second half, but like
the fight.
That whole fight scene was just like, man, you could tell that they just maybe ran out of budget. Just special effects weren't there. They didn't have the right team that knew what they were doing. It was just...
Well, it's kind of interesting, too.
And just how they're just staring at it. I'm just like, this is so not good.
Well, what's interesting about the Stranger's powers, too, is like, it's even like almost a level of above like just telekinesis. It's like they can actually manipulate atoms.
Mm-hmm. They can manipulate reality.
Yeah, like they
have the reality stone.
Yeah, they can turn metal into liquid.
Yeah,
and they can make water, and they can, you know, and that was just kind of an interesting concept. So it's like, wow, these things are actually really, this ability these things have is really incredible. Like,
it is really cool.
Yeah, and like in the buildings coming up, and they're sprouting out of the ground like a plant, and then flourishing into a done building. I was like, that's a really cool idea, like visually.
I mean, it's it's the theme. Another theme of this movie is the idea of the fishbowl, which is introduced right at the beginning when he knocks over the fish and he takes the fish. Like, we are nothing but just like a singular fish lost in a giant bowl, figuring out where we can go next. Mm-hmm. And outside of that bowl, we are nothing but a suffocating, dying animal. Like the spiral is a big part of that as well. The continuous circle down.
Well, yeah,
down.
It's on his fingerprints. Mm-hmm. It's in the office of the doctor. It's
the city in a weird way looks like when they saw that has like a spiral of it.
Yeah.
Which all goes into this like idea of like of this sense of fabrication of memories. You know, it's like that's what the strangers. Which I guess, I mean, that's the only name that I could find for them. They actually don't give themselves any names.
No, Kiefer. The doctor calls them the strangers.
He calls them the strangers?
When they're in the boat.
Okay. Which also, very interesting for a movie to really just, like, explain out the
I think that's
entire,
I think that's what the negative review was saying.
The entire, which also... A movie like this kind of needs it a little bit.
It's because it's like even Fallon's like, oh, so what time era does this take place in? And I was like, none.
Yeah.
And all.
Yeah, finding out that they're pretty much like on a ship floating in space.
They're like in
a
space station.
Yeah.
And they literally have like taken them in different architecture, and you can see it too. There's like different eras of modern architecture kind of thrown.
They were talking about that actually. Is the set designer I read? They since it's all an idea of I can't find the right word. A group of memories put together.
Mm-hmm.
That
agglomeration.
Yeah, that's the word I was trying to find. Thank you. That they wanted to actually have inspiration from like old European architecture, and then they wanted inspiration from like a 1920s New York street.
Yeah, World War II era,
World War II German. Yeah, like all of this, and they just wanted like it's like all put together because it's to make it seem like
it's Gotham.
Yeah,
from Tim Burton.
Dude, I literally like one of the first like when Bumstead. Yeah, Bumstead. is like walking up and like going into the his that first apartment, you know. And I was sitting there, I'm like, man, this feels like fucking Gotham right here.
Yeah,
like,
and Gotham in the movie, especially Tim Burton's, is this like kind of conglomeration of like, I mean, a lot of it's New York, but it's like a lot of Gothic architecture.
It's very Gothic,
and a lot, you know, like
I would say like this is like a Gothic steampunk-ish.
I mean, that's the thing. The movie looks really cool.
Yeah.
I was kind of bummed out because something was going on with my internet last night, so it was not buffering well.
Oh, that sucks.
So like more than half the movie was like kind of that grainy, and was such
a blurry.
Yeah, that was a real bummer, and it kept going in and out. And I even went around and turned off anything else that might be using the Wi-Fi, and it just wasn't.
Did you reset your modem?
No, because I was already like halfway through it, and I was like, let's just get done.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to get it was already like midnight, so I was like,
But like, so the strangers, their whole thing is to find a human soul, and so
But that's the thing. They want to find human soul, but they want to assimilate it, which is an interesting concept.
Assimilate it, or they want to assimilate it, or do they want to recreate it?
No, because remember, they're trying to put their memories of their people in him to make him part of the hive mind.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting concept.
Well,
they want to take his soul and spread it to the rest of them.
Okay, yeah, I see what you mean by assimilate then. Yeah, okay.
They want to bring him into the fold and make him part of their hive
I think
mind.
that's more than just an assimilation. That's like he's almost like they're trying to find like their like savior, their god type thing, something to give them what humans don't have.
Yeah,
because an assimilation just means that they just want to make him one of them.
I mean, that's another plot thing though too. Is like this whole race is going extinct, but then with human soul they won't.
Yeah,
like what do you mean?
I don't. Yeah.
Also, you all can live.
But it's like the way that they fabricate. They literally this entire like whoever this like they took these humans from Earth or whatever, you know, and have that like they all. This is where the abductees go. So,
yeah. To this. Thing.
And what they've done is like they've been able to extract their memories from these people, and retune their minds with the doctor.
And they just make a pool of memories that they can pick and choose. To make
and like there's even a moment where the doctor is like, "How about a little bit of teenage rebellion mixed with a little bit of this mixed with a little bit of."
Well, it's like what is it? It's like an unhappy childhood.
Yeah,
a splash of teen rebellion, and then a tragic death in the family.
Yeah. And so, which all is a really cool idea, which then it begs the question, kind of like what we were talking about with Blade Runner last week, like what, constitutes, like your, like what constitutes you as a human if your memories are nothing but another person's memories. Like if you don't, like, are you truly a person if the memories you have aren't yours, Well, like and it makes us wonder, like, what is are my memories real? Am I going to wake up into another fucking world when I die type thing,
I had this kind of Westworld moment where it kind of reminded me of that, where he meets the hotel guy that then gets replaced.
Yeah.
And then he sees the original hotel guy at the newspaper stand, and he goes, 20-something years, not getting out for good behavior. He used the same phrase that he used when he was the hotel guy. Yeah. So it made me go, like, is there like some kind of weird residual thing for everybody?
Maybe that's the soul they're talking about.
Yeah, like that's the core personality. Like this new personality, quote unquote, said the same thing that, you know what I mean?
But it also, like this, all right, now I'm going to get really into fucking the philosophical thing of like, what is the fuck does a personality actually mean? It's just created by the culture of who you are growing up, your influences from movies to people to your outside influences creates who you are as
like
a person.
The nature versus nurture kind of conversation.
Yeah. Which that's a weird part of, like, that's another, I don't want to get into that part because I can argue that this is both nature and nurture.
Okay.
Because it's influence. It's your world, yes, the nature and how it influences you, but then the nurture also influences you too. Both things create who you are as a person.
But it's also, weirdly though, it's almost like you're saying it's both nature and nurture, but it's almost not at the same time. Because the nature, the environment they're in is never changing because it's always
I'm talking about just a human individual, not this movie.
Oh, I thought you were talking about this movie.
No. I'm just talking about a human person right now.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's how a personality is created. So when you start taking memories and whatnot, each person, all these memories, they should become a different person each time. Mm-hmm. In that sense, if you're thinking about like how a person is a person in a personality sense. Mm-hmm. I sound crazy right now, and like how I'm like talking to.
You sound like the detective.
But that's really what it comes into for is like if is like that's I guess the big like arc with Murdoch and then with Emma is the fact that Emma is convinced that she does love John Murdoch, but it is quickly revealed that they can just change that. Like she feels these real emotions for him. She cries for John. She's like, I know I love you.
Well, even when she says, you can't fake that. He goes, no, you can. I'm like, yeah, you can.
Like 100% you can.
Yeah. Pump you through enough, like put enough memories of you loving him.
100%.
You love him now. Like it's really, well, it was even like in that, the detective, like when he goes to visit the crazy detective, it's like, your wife's really worried about you. That's not my wife. I don't know who that is. It's like, this movie is really just on a concept level. It's such a mind fuck.
It is.
It would drive you, if you were to wake up out of this loop that they're doing, it would drive you crazy.
Yeah, no, but that's, this movie is a wonderful example of Plato's theory of the shadows on the wall, or the shadows in the cave.
Shadows of the cave, yeah.
Yeah, like, and if you're not familiar with that, the whole idea is that if you have these people that are chained in a cave and all they have is just the shadows of something to look at, that's the only reality that they know. That is what they perceive. That's their world. They only know how to acknowledge that. And then the philosopher or whoever, like the wise man, is the one who becomes unshackled and realizes that the shadows are actually part of a larger world that's outside from that, and that those are it's a large concept, which I don't know. I follow it probably about like 50% of what it actually, because there's a lot more to it. I don't know how much have you read into it, but
I just know of it.
Yeah. But that's pretty much what this movie is that these strangers are creating this reality. The city are the people in the cave that are shackled with a perception being told to them, given to them. That is their reality. Murdoch is now unshackled, and he is now learning what is actually around, what is the reality of it all. And him becoming like super imposed with them or whatever the fuck, because you think that the doctor is actually just working for the strangers the entire time,
but he's kind of like an undercover agent.
Yeah, he actually wants to try to stop the strangers because they fucking like forced him to do this.
Yeah, which was crazy. That was a weird, like, I was like, that's pretty dark too. It was like they needed his abilities as a scientist, which are like, well,
knowing the human mind.
Yeah, and then they beat him to the point where he was forced to delete all of his memories except for the technical part of being a scientist.
Yeah,
but he doesn't remember who he is or where he's from or anything. I was like, oh, that's kind of a dark concept. And they actually show him like injecting himself, killing his personality. Yeah, like erasing your own memories. That's that gunpoint, basically. That's pretty intense, like, concept.
Yeah, I mean, his story is really interesting, and then
he's actually kind of the one with the most arc because of the fact that he has like a pre-existing plan the whole time. He's
one of the more fleshed out characters.
Yeah,
and like Murdoch's character, I mean, you find out that like everything that Murdoch is nothing but a fabrication. But an interesting thing is that it's like Murdoch embraces like, okay, like, as opposed to like finding out who I truly am, I'm just going to accept the being that I am and the feelings that I have.
Yeah, like when he says his name, he keeps the name John Murdoch. He doesn't change it. Or, pick something else.
Which is also kind of like, I don't know, an embrace of self-identity is kind of an interesting concept as well.
Well, he's creating an identity.
Yeah.
Like through this experience till now, what the future holds. John Murdoch
he's going to have that. He's going to have the memory of him. So essentially, he like defeats all of the strangers. He kills all of them, and then he has superpowers he now has the stranger's ability to tune everything, and he creates his own world with the ocean. Then the flat Earth gets created.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, the flat Earthers are right. Okay, I get it. It's almost like an origin story for a god.
It is. It's like, it really is. But it's also like, I was reading that Alex, this is a while ago, was possibly in works on a series.
See, I think this movie would do a lot better as a series. Like a short-lived, like limited series, like maybe 1 or 2 seasons.
Yeah, and just really get into the idea of what is memory and what makes human. I mean,
what are the strangers and all of that stuff?
Well, because even with the whole thing, like him going and meeting up with now, not Emma, but Anna.
Yep.
Now in the movie, Jennifer Connelly gets her mind re-scrambled and becomes this new person named Anna, and he's still, he's in love with Anna.
He's in love with the idea of this woman.
Yeah, basically. And it's like
Another, I mean, this movie's not very strong with female casting.
and he like sets up like he sees her and has like a whole conversation with her and like walks off and it implies like, oh, maybe they're gonna get back together. But it's like,
he's going to get back together with her because he can create that.
no, but I mean, but it's also like, no, but he can't change that. Now that Emma is Anna, she might have a completely different personality that you hate.
That's fair. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh God, you don't like dogs, you know? But you know what I mean? It's just an interesting. It really does just from a concept. Just the concepts in this movie are very interesting and fun to think about.
And see, that's the interesting thing is like, I feel like I want to talk more about the concepts of this movie than the events of this movie. And I think that's the problem, is that this is such an interesting movie because of its concepts and where it goes. And it makes me not care about what happened at all. Like, what actually happens in this movie about him being a murderer, the strangers hunting him down, and all of that stuff means nothing to me. It's all moot because the concept of what it means for like memory and identity and all of that stuff becomes so much more interesting, which I don't know, maybe that's a good thing because it sparks a debate, which are things that I really like having conversations about human existence and stuff like this. But when I'm like, I feel like a movie should also want to care about a character's journey, you know? You should care about their love interest to a sense. You should care. I should have cared that Bumstead flew off into the space.
Oh, I cared about that.
I didn't give a shit. The fucking Bumstead was just a created fabrication of a detective that, and all of these characters live inside of a trope because that's all the strangers know. The strangers create this fabricated idea of tropes.
No, but
people.
I think you're overlooking certain like moments. Like we're in the car and they're talking about the accordion, and
it's given to his mother. I can't remember how she.
Yeah, that's like a really sad like moment. Even Jennifer Connelly's character Anna is like, "What's happening?"
Emma at this time.
Emma, and it's like, "What's happening to us?" And he's like, "I don't know." And they're all slowly starting to realize that there's something very wrong.
Yeah,
and it's like, I don't know. It's like lost children.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and I really felt, and I cared because he had this really this forced attachment to this item that he has no real recollection of why he has this attachment. Finally comes towards the end where we're figuring out, after this conflict, maybe it's sad because he never got to have like an actual life like John's gonna have. He's not going to be able to make his own destiny. He finally got to the end of the rainbow. He got to the end of the yellow brick road, but never got to Oz.
Yeah, but I mean, I get I think just because at that point,
that's why I cared about him.
I mean, by that point of him talking about that with the accordion and whatnot, it was just like, oh, they're showing how. I don't know. I already knew that all of this was a fabrication. I already got that.
I know, but I just felt like.
But since I already knew it, all this, it was like, well, yeah, of course you don't fucking remember it because everything. Like right now, this is all like your feelings for your mother is a fabrication of something that you can't control. You're a puppet. I don't care.
But that's why I'm saying you should care because they want to have that connection, but there's no anchor to it, and that's sad.
This is the flip conversation of Blade Runner last week when I was saying like, no, him being a replicant makes us connect to the human emotion.
I still don't agree
more.
with that.
But you're arguing that right now of them being a puppet and him having this moment.
But they're abducted humans. I don't know. I just think it's different.
They're empty vessels. They're a shell. They're looking for the shell coast. They're nothing but a shell.
But I think
personality.
What I think it's different though is like
they are the ghost in the shell.
Okay, that's great. But I think it's the scrambling part that makes it more of like a messed up concept. They're not haven't been continuously the same person for the last 10 years. They have been multiple people, and it's just like that's what I think is like there is no anchor for any kind of identity because they've only been this person for the last 12 hours. And I'm just saying as an example because they pause it at midnight every night, you know. So it's like that's.
But they have no recollection of their past selves.
I know, but I just think that would really fuck with you to be like, well, because even then you could have been a murderer.
Yeah.
Who knows how many people you've killed and how many people you've been. And I think that's what the psychological break thing would happen. And that's why I feel bad for William Hurt's character because of the fact he can never like make his own life. Make his own destiny.
Well, I mean, the only reason people are going to be able to make their own destiny post this movie, though, is because Murdoch just like destroys the strangers, because strangers were going to do that. They were going to forever have this time.
Well,
loop.
yeah, but I guess at this point, whoever you are now is who you are. So like him, if he was alive, he's going to be a cop. Like
now, everybody can create their own destiny,
Yeah.
and whatever memories they have from the past, they might struggle with to figure out.
But that's the thing. If you're this god guy, right,
Mm-hmm.
John? You're god of this little space city,
of Dark City.
Do you keep the guys going, or do you tell the citizens and cause a mass panic?
I would just let people live as they are.
Yeah, just let them do their thing.
Yeah.
Live in the anthill and call it a day.
Because I mean, also at the end of the day, like I don't know how much the society is
Ant
going to
farm.
fucking survive.
That was another thing too. I was like, it's all so controlled.
But I mean, also if he can just create reality, he can just Thanos it, snap, fucking create shit for everyone.
Yeah, but even then, it's like because it was this loop. There, even though it's a city, it doesn't have any infrastructure of a city.
Yeah.
There's no real commerce. There's no real trade. There's no real, you know what I mean? Everything is just reset every time. So it's like, but even again, like I guess you were saying, that's a really interesting concept. It's like, yeah, cool, you're God. What are you gonna do now?
Yeah.
You ever played Sims? Sim City? It's hard. Okay, keeping everyone happy and alive.
Not very fun.
It's not fun.
I get bored after a couple hours.
I get bored and I bring up Bowser and have him destroy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you remember that in the Super Nintendo Sims?
I never played the Super Nintendo one. I only played it on the computer.
When you turn on the Godzilla.
Oh, you told me this. Yeah,
it's Bowser.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but yeah, I don't. It's like never have I ever watched a movie that I was so interested with concepts and not interested in what I was watching.
I think it also goes into that, the last 10 minutes thing. The last 10 minutes are just like,
it's like the last half hour.
But you know what I
Yeah.
mean. The last thing you think of when you leave the theater, and it's like that whole psychic fight, and then
that really turns it on its head in a weird way.
And it's like it's not fair to do, but you think about like the after, like I don't know if
even
you do
just
this.
kind of like the whole like Kiefer Sutherland or Dr. Schreber like putting the injecting all of the information into Murdoch's head for him to become the god.
I know kung fu
It's
moment.
Exactly. It's like almost a Deus Ex Machina moment for Murdoch to just become all of a sudden, he's now the peak of
He's
them.
the one.
I know kung fu.
Prove it. Or show me.
Yeah.
Show me.
It's like it just the whole strangers like world that it felt so out of place, and I know that that's probably what they meant to be doing, is this like stark difference of like this alien civilization and how they live inside of these vessels, inside of these shells of human beings, and then the vessels and the shells of the human beings that they want to like preserve.
What I
like,
love
that's all these humans are just preservations for them.
Well, I loved that whole fact that they were like corpses. We live in your dead, but also a lot of them had scars on their heads of where they like literally got in there. I liked that concept, and I really liked Mr. Hand, just his Mr. Murdoch,
and like
this whole vibe.
They imprint fucking Murdoch's memories into Mr. Hand for him to like be the one to hunt. Like, now I know what Mr. Murdoch thinks, and I can find Murdoch.
He becomes Murder Murdoch.
Yeah.
And becomes the serial killer version. And since he has these memories that Murdoch has, he's like, oh, well, we can use you as to be like an inside look to his mind.
I like how impatient the strangers were. Like, this isn't getting us anywhere. It's like, dude, just let him fucking go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's like, isn't that what you wanted? Is him to go down the mind?
He's not
going
to fucking know where he is immediately. It's not like in a fucking weird hive mind connection, psychic connection.
Yeah, it was. I liked that a lot. I really liked Mr. Hand, especially when he went all creepy. Like, leave me. It's just, his voice was great.
The strangers were oddly creepy. I don't know. Just like there was like, I feel like there was just like ideas of the strangers that were forced ideas into it to just make it feel creepy. Like there was a lot of stuff
like
in this,
the kid one,
and there's a lot of stuff in this movie that just
Mr. Sleep.
doesn't feel very grounded in the world that is created in this. And like, this is the world that I would say is like, it's not a very grounded world in its creation as well. I think that's kind of what is kind of like takes me out a little bit.
But how would you ground this concept? It's a space city being controlled by aliens. How do you make that grounded in reality?
I don't want to say, no, I don't mean grounded. I mean grounded like,
within itself.
Within itself, yeah. It's like it becomes grounded in its own reality. I don't feel like a lot of this was grounded in its own reality. And then, Kiefer Sutherland's acting is kind of a problem of its own.
Well, but I mean, also with that grounding in its own reality, there is no reference point for the reality. The reality of what we know is what the strangers have made.
Yeah, but
so they can do whatever they want. Their reality is the reality.
But that doesn't even like them themselves don't even feel very grounded in the world that's created for this movie. They just seem like boogeymen. Like there's no like who are they other than like wanting a human soul? Like what is their cult?
That's true.
You know?
Well, I thought it was weird too. The human face. No, I guess that makes. I thought that was weird at first. The human face opens up and the clock face is there, and then they stop the machine. That's how they stop the
time
machine.
as a construct. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but like I was like, oh, like at first I was like, why would they have a human face there? I'm like, oh, because that's their goal. Their goal is the human mind, basically, and how to unlock it. But I mean, again, this is such a weird thing because you were saying the whole murder thing is moot. It's like, well, no, they made him a murderer to observe what a murderer would do.
Yeah.
And that's, again, a cool concept, but it would be kind of cool if we kind of saw more of that.
Yeah.
Which I feel like they tried to do with Mr. Ham, but now they're completely forgetting about the whole observation of a murderer thing. It's like, well, here's your example. Here's a great, here.
Yeah.
We got one of your kind now that's going to be one of the murderers, so.
I guess in a big way, I feel like this movie is it was too big of a concept and idea and a world of everything to really fit well into a 2-hour movie.
They really should have like trimmed it a little and
I don't know, like necessarily. I mean, yeah, like take out some stuff, tighten it up, but I don't know if that's necessarily the problem. Like, I don't know what you could take out without it not affecting another thing, because I feel like everything that's in this movie needs to be in the movie, And I think like when you bring up Westworld, that's a really good comparison for this movie, actually. Like Westworld is very much like this. Like actually, this
technically,
movie,
Westworld came out before, so
what?
Westworld, the show is a remake.
Is it really?
Yeah, it was a movie before. I can't remember what era.
Same premise and everything.
They took the movie's like the bare concept, and the movie the TV show really expands upon it. But yeah, robot Western identity stuff.
But like futuristic, like the world.
The poster is
Plato's fucking.
I've never seen it, but like even the poster, the movie cover is like a robot taking off his face, and underneath is the circuitry. And
never knew that.
Yeah,
but I like as just kind of thinking about it. This what Westworld is now is kind of what this movie is.
Yeah, it's all identity.
Yeah, well, not only but it's like people trying to create identity and just yeah. Well, I guess Westworld that's like a vacation thing, isn't it?
I don't know. It's like an adult theme park.
Yeah, that's right.
The first season, and it's all Western based, and you can.
I've only seen like half.
It's Red Dead Redemption Online.
Yeah. Okay.
You can go be a cowboy.
No, I really think this there's an interesting, fun, awesome. I don't want to say fun. I mean, it is fun, but like there's an interesting, in-depth concept.
Yeah. So
in this movie.
So yeah, Westworld, the film came out in 1973.
Okay.
Androids go haywire with guests at an adult theme park in the future.
Okay.
So yeah, it's the same. Yeah, they just really dive into the identity and the residual memory thing, and they So actually, boom, Dark City, Westworld.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, like that's you. Yeah, I think you hit like the limited series thing you were talking about. That's that. Because Westworld, at least, I mean, I fell off of it, but the first and second season,
I fell off halfway through the first season.
They're really good, and you can really dive into, because even then, like with Westworld, it goes into the residual memory thing and trauma. So one of the
ghosts in the show,
she starts getting murderous because she remembers these horrible traumatic things that have happened to her in the past.
Yeah,
and she gets triggered, and then she attacks. So it's like, yeah, you could really do a Dark City thing. And like I said, they were in talks about it. So that'd be cool.
Yeah. I would love to see it, actually. I think we need to get into a rating and wrapping it up. I think we might have very stark different.
I was going to say, you start.
I'm really stuck in between a wet mogwai and a mogwai that's eaten after midnight, for me personally.
I'm going to say a wet mogwai.
I figured you were gonna settle on a wet mogwai
because it's multiplying, and there's multiplying so much. Some of them are good, some of them are bad, but
it's just like,
what was the rating on IMDb again?
7.5.
I think it's
7.6.
A little bit lower than that.
I do too. Like I think it's closer to like just a 6.97.
Like 6.8.
No, I don't think yet. It's closer to just like a 7, like hard 7.
I say below 7 just because
Well, like 6, 9, 7. Like,
yeah.
You know, because like I think the whole like the concept, the themes, what's being really like what this movie is really about is really super cool, and the way that it's like unfolds is really cool. But then when you really think about it, it's like, well, now I don't really care about any of these characters in this story and whatnot. That was everything up to this point.
Well, it's the same thing as Blade Runner. It's losing the human element to a story that's supposed to be about humanity.
Yeah,
in a way. Well, I mean, but I want to give it, like, I do want to give it, like, for what you're saying, the special effects, especially when they're in the machine and it's all the buildings and that kind of swirly motion and they start to go, you know, I really liked the idea of this organic machinery, atom manipulating thing that they were doing, like materializing doors.
Really, like, it's like the idea of like what is our reality in front of us is a huge theme in this. You know, and be on board, like even like Blade Runner, it's like it's more about like, you know, what are memories, like who are we as people without memories? Does memory make a person? You know, in this movie, memories make a person, but it's what memories you put into the person is what when then that becomes like, who is that person? Oh
yeah, and I want to say like with that whole like review about the plot being explained to everyone like back and forth. I thought it like kind of worked because it was so confusing, but there's a couple of moments where I really liked it, like when they arrest Murdoch and the detective and the inspector and him are having the conversation, and he's just like, you know, like you're gonna think I'm crazy, but you know, and just starts asking him questions like, when's the last time you saw the sun?
Yeah,
and he's like, or first it's like, how do you get to Shell Beach? And he's like, yeah, you.
Which is the second time he's asked somebody, and they're like, oh no, oh.
And it's like, oh, you can't
weird.
remember. Okay, and he's like, okay, when's the last time you saw the sun?
Yeah.
And he's like, and I'm not talking about some distant, far-off childhood memory. I mean, yesterday, the day before, a week ago, you know. And I was like, that's explaining that it is a perpetual night, and just nobody's fucking aware of it because of the reset. Yeah. And I just like that, like those kind of, and you know, even when Kiefer Sutherland is explaining and it makes sense for the plot. These two people don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
we do as the audience have an idea and grasp of a situation, but these two people living in Dark City don't know what the fuck is going on.
Exactly.
They're just losing their minds, like, or feel like they are.
Yeah.
Because they're literally, their minds are being taken every night, you know, like.
Because they could wake up as a different person. They'd not even realize it.
Yeah.
Which has happened to them multiple times.
And there's a couple of cool shots, like when you have the, like, lower income couple talking and they do the switch over and suddenly now they're posh and very wealthy.
Yeah. I mean, that entire scene just sets up what this world is.
Yeah.
You know, that was a really cool way of doing it. But yeah.
But yeah, so
those special effects are really good, but like once it gets into the strangers fight scene and all that stuff,
and just the music and the fight scenes in general,
it's very outdated.
Yeah,
and
like,
it doesn't, which is really, it doesn't feel like it fits in that world.
Even for a 98 movie, which is, like the music sounds like, this is a 98 movie. That music doesn't fit. It's so weird that
The Matrix comes out the following year.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Weird.
And The Matrix also dealing with what is reality.
All right, next week we're doing that. No, I need a break.
Yeah, The Matrix comes out in 1999, the year following. Actually, a lot of people did compare this movie to The Matrix. I was reading.
Yeah.
Or The Matrix to this movie.
We just did it too. I know kung fu.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like it's all about It's all about artificial
everything's a simulation.
Reality that's
everything's a simulation.
Well, like this is what's weird. This is a simulation, but not a simulation.
Right? Yeah.
It's a physical thing, but I mean, you know what I mean.
But it's saying that our memories are nothing but a simulation.
Yeah, but the memory, like the physical aspect, is there, but the memories are the simulation.
Yeah.
It's like you're wearing it. Yeah. Anyways, so what are we settling on?
Wet Mogwai.
Yeah. Okay, so like a high 6.
A low wet Mogwai. A very wet Mogwai.
A soaking wet Mogwai. All right. Well, that was a fun. I'm tired. I'm gonna take a nap.
The heat in here doesn't help.
Yeah, my head hurts. So yeah, we need to finalize what we're doing.
Well, we'll figure out what we're doing next week after we talk about this, and you guys will see a post about that maybe. Yeah. So thanks for listening. Check out Dark City.
I definitely. I mean, let's end this on a more
I mean, check it out. If you want a movie that is gonna make you think.
And I just think it's really cool I really do. Like I get the problems with it, but I think it's just a really cool sci-fi thriller
for a movie, for what this movie is showing and shows you and has as a movie. I would never ever have guessed that it would have such a weird philosophical depth to it.
Yeah, it's a journey. It gets the gears turning. It's one of those, like, I'm glad you have finally seen this.
Yeah,
because I think this goes, again, like we were saying, if you like sci-fi, this is probably needs to be on the list just because of what it does in the psychological and
in sci-fi realm. It's very much a sci-fi cult classic.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. It's cool. But yeah, so check it out. Like, subscribe, share with friends. Follow us on Instagram, Patreon.
Yeah, if you sign up on our Patreon, you can get an early release on Wednesday, and all the money that goes in that goes back into our podcast for us to buy equipment.
Because we are a self-produced podcast.
Yes.
We make and do all the stuff together.
Yeah.
Well, except the art. Yeah.
Well, we'll be doing a lot of the art. You've been doing some art lately.
Some of it, yeah.
Well, we'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks guys for listening. Check us out next week.
Yeah. This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's Mixtape. Bye, y'all.